This is the Shadow Chronicles podcast. We are here to take a deep dive into the inner work, generational trauma, and your shadows. Having those hard conversations so you don't have to. You know, all of that shit that just does not get spoken about. In the third drawer down, in the dark, hidden away. My name is Sky and I'm a shadow integration specialist. I am here to help guide you on your journey to unfuck yourself by integrating your shadows, healing the generational trauma so you can vibrate with confidence and just fucking love your life.
And my name is Todd, who's an integrative health coach. I help people own more of who they are, change their lives on many different levels to become who they really are. Find your compass and follow it, to say it simply.
You know, I was pretty impressed that I nearly spoke over the squeaky part. I don't know if it would have worked.
It wasn't because you started talking and I totally shamed you about it. And I was like, because what you just said, I was halfway through thinking, she could have spoken over the squeaky chair and that would it have been less offensive?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It would have been funny as hell though.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there shaking my head because I got bells in my hair.
Anyway.
Because that's the thing.
Mm-hmm. So,
Happy New Year, because we're recording this on New Year's Day, because, you know, that's what I do with my time.
just podcast nerds. Happy New Year to you too.
Thank you. I think we're going to chat. I don't think I know. We're going to have a chat, a bit of a follow-on from our last episode.
And on today of all days.
The biggest resolution of I'm going to lose 20 kilos or something, you know, and I find it really interesting before we dive into the whole topic. I was having a chat about this with my mentor and you know, talking about the Southern Hemisphere and where we are and how she has people she works with and collaborates with in the Northern Hemisphere. So we've just gone through summer solstice and they're all going through their winter solstice, for example, and trying to tee up times to work together over this period. And she's like nothing gets done in Australia in January.
The absolute no man's land
it's
between Christmas and New Year's.
It's like the fucking void.
The school holidays finishing. It's just
yeah. And I'm just like, and then there's this massive thing of New Year's resolutions and stuff like that. And even she's just like, we don't actually get into the new year and get our flow back really until about halfway through January.
Even then, that's kind of early for some of the people I know.
Yeah, it's a lot of people have gone away on holidays, you know, all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah. You check out from work and then you take a few weeks to check back in. So
then I wonder, because this just occurred to me, I wonder there's this whole, you know, because I don't do New Year's resolutions. I have focuses I would like to focus on, things I'd like to focus on, goals I'd like to achieve throughout the year, but I don't necessarily make them on New Year's. Nope. I just go, okay, well, this is what I wanted. I was talking to my mentor, I was like, this is what I want to focus on for January. It was just and a lot of it was what we just spoke about before the actual recording on the episode. So I was like, yeah, go me. But then I was just like, well, is that the whole biggest set you up to fail thing? Because we're like, well, yeah, we're going to set new year, new me, or whatever you want to fucking call it. And you don't actually get started until February.
I'll start my diet on Monday.
It's like that. That's it. It's the whole I'll start my diet on Monday type thing.
Like a macro cycle.
Yeah.
Even the word resolution. I don't know. You could probably put a couple of relatively words around that say you lack a certain amount of conviction. It's like you're resolving to not do something anymore. It's you need a whole year to sort of make a decision and a special day to make a decision.
And then if you don't get started on that day, well, you just, oh, fuck it, I'm just going to wait till next year now.
This was in the gym earlier, talking to a mutual friend of ours that I had to ditch the last time I saw him in the gym because I had shit to do and he took it super personally. He was... It's only been this year for like 12 hours and he's already like all these fucking pricks walking in and taking up my gym space with their New Year's resolutions. Like, dude, it's day one. There's no one on the desk to selling memberships. Calm your farm.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, Johnny come lately scum and blah, blah. It's,
oh.
yeah.
Makes me kind of glad I didn't go to the gym now.
It was busy.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. It's
But mostly with people who would go to the gym on a Monday anyway.
Yeah, that's it. It's like normal life.
Yeah. Well, that's certainly how I treated it. It's like, it's Monday, it's legs day. It's what it is.
Legs day every day. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's it. And it's, well, then I sit there and think about it deeper and it's like, well, if you really want to resolve something, if you really want to stop doing a thing or if you really want to stop self-sabotaging or anything like that, then again, go look into your values, go look into the shadows, go look into the things of the whys and the hows that you're doing, the things that you're doing, and go through the process of unlearning that rather than trying to fucking will yourself to death. You know, like I should be doing this or I have to be doing that. Well, you know, I should stop doing this. That's nice, sweetheart. How did you start doing it in the first place?
Shoulds, right?
Yeah.
Even the word resolution, so the base word being resolute. When you sort of look at that as what is the meaning of resolute? Well, it's to be sort of on purpose and intentful and sure in your convictions.
Mm-hmm.
But that is, of course, depending on you having made a decision or formulated a thing that you want to be resolute in the movement towards, as opposed to a thing I want to do less that makes me feel bad when I do it, or a thing that you think will fix that as the conundrum that you experience, like what you were just saying. It's like, I should do more of this. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you hope for? What do you wish for? Again, they're things that represent a certain amount of like positive intent without a whole lot to back it up in terms of action and methodology and plan and conviction. And cause, this is another one of those motivation gets smoked by discipline all day.
Well, yeah. And then, motivation's your flaky friend, essentially. It's there sometimes and then it's not there other times. And
it is valuable to get a little bit of momentum.
Yeah,
built.
you kind of need that. That's that, I guess in like NLP terms, that's that little bit of a weight energy. It's like the fire starter.
Yeah.
You know, and then if you look at it as discipline as more of the towards energy, it's like, you know, you're moving towards something that you want, not moving away from something that you don't want. You know, because then you have to find that motivation or that pain to get you started again.
Well,
rather than having that continual flow of this is the decision I'm making every day, or this is the thing I'm doing. Or
you're never going to be miraculously, divinely inspired every day. I'm sorry.
Fuck no.
Good luck. If you are, tell me how.
Yeah.
Sell that in a bottle. I'll buy some.
Well, me yesterday, I just want to sleep.
Yeah. Motivation's the thing that invests you in setting and establishing the pattern and creating that discipline. I don't know if we've specifically gone into this as a subject, but discipline isn't in the action. Discipline is in the decisions that you make from a moment to moment, day to day, month to month, week to week, blah, 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 that weigh up the value of what actions create the most value and by extension investment.
Yeah.
It's like, what would motivate you to make this decision every day? Well, the outcome of that.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a pattern of behavior that you could invest in. That sounds like discipline.
Yeah, exactly. Not the discipline, like I'm going to backhand you because
yeah, or like as you say, like forcing yourself to do some shit. It's like it's not about forcing yourself; it's about creating a balance of where the value is, so that you lean into one because you're not an idiot, presumably, and will go where the value is accordingly.
What's the
on the proviso that you look at it that way?
Yeah, and it's that whole basis of choose your heart.
And that's what I mean. It's like there's going to be pros and cons no matter which way you lean into.
Yeah.
If you choose something like, I want to join the gym, why? Because I think that what I'll get out of that is more than the challenge and the pain that's involved in going to the gym. Now, if you've never been to the gym, you're in for a shock because
shit hurts.
It stinks.
Yeah. It's full of people.
But continuing to make the decision.
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of people who may or may not be particularly positive about their experiences there either.
No. Yeah, that's a thing too.
But like the whole concept of like New Year's resolution, without going through that kind of thought process, is just a thing that you tell yourself that would be awesome, that if you don't live up to, is more evidence of why you suck.
Where focus goes, energy flows.
And like, what would you be more or less inclined to make that resolution next year, knowing that this year didn't pan out quite like you wish it did?
Yeah. Well, I'm also left to wonder, like, does any year really pan out how we expect it to? Like, I had someone the other day, or like a week or so ago, a couple of weeks ago, I can't remember what it was, but I had someone come up to me the other day, and obviously because the last couple of months of, 2023, my life was a little bit sideways. That's okay.
Yeah, that's some stuff.
I had some stuff. It's life. And she was like, oh, I bet you can't wait to see the end of this year. And I'm like, huh?
What's wrong with it?
What's wrong with it? Yes, the last 3 months of my life was sideways. So I was just like, I took on that. And yes, I did one of those like reflection posts on social media because, I was just like, no, I'm just going to actually sit down for a minute and actually.
Such a girl.
I know, I'm such a girl. Like, follow the trends. But I was like, no, I'm actually going to sit down because that's it. Like, I was talking to another friend about it. So I was like, I can't believe she said that. She's like, and then even she was like, yeah, and if you do focus on what the last 3 months entailed for me, which was a lot of loss and a lot of grief and surgery and
good times,
you'll lose all the other cool shit you did. And I was like, well, yeah. So I sat down and I was just like, I didn't even list everything that I achieved. And I'm like, this is getting way too fucking long. But I was just like...
Yeah. Sounds horrible.
Sounds horrible. But I was just like, I actually did some really cool fucking shit.
Sorry, I think there's a Friends episode where Chandler's been his usual sarcastic
self
douche. He's like, oh no, 2 beautiful girls love me. My 50s don't fit in my wallet and my diamond shoes are too tight.
Joe.
Yeah, like, must be rough, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
But that as an example, like, that's kind of what you're describing.
And I'm like, I did some pretty cool shit. Yes, the last 3 months were sideways. Yes, I was kind of going, oh, can life just kind of recalibrate for a second here? Can we just stop the roller coaster? I want to get off.
Yeah.
But
I need a bucket. Give me a minute.
Yeah, give me a minute. But then I like sort of thought back to the year before that and the year before that. And I'm like, yeah, I did some cool shit. And I went through some horrible shit. That's just life. And I guess that's the beautiful concept of being, what is it?
Meat popsicle piloted by a spirit ghost.
Meat popsicle piloted by a spirit ghost is that we are actually supposed to go through life up and down. The beautiful thing about being human is we have the capacity to feel and feel greatly and feel all things, both on positive and negative sides. But again,
that's what you're here for.
Yeah, it's what you're here for. But again, where focus goes, energy flows. So if you literally only if I only focused on the shit I went through in the last couple of months of the year, man, I'd be pretty miserable. And yes, sometimes I go through those cycles of like, oh crap, I miss my puppy dog, or I'm still building up, going back to the gym from surgery. I think I messaged my coach like, well, I miss my strong muscles, like,
It's still there. Promise.
I know they're still there. I've just got to get my fitness back up and shit like that again. But if that's all I focused on, I'd be pretty sad all the time. And that's not fun. And then that's how people end up going, well, this year sucked. I can't wait till fucking next year. Hopefully it brings better things. I'm like, well, I hate to break it to you, sweetheart, but you're going to have to do something if you want to bring those amazing things in.
So that's kind of why I don't really appreciate setting resolutions in general. Because I think it compartmentalizes years that is discrediting the ebb and flow of everything you've just described that is life. And that's why I was like, if you need a day to say, I'm going to change this behavior because it's the 1st of January, I think that's a limitation on you, and it's a pretending to compartmentalize time, life, space, energy, intention that cheapens the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like Valentine's Day. If you need a day to remind you of why that's your favorite person and to treat them accordingly, what are you being present with? How much are you contributing to the
relationship
capitalist?
I know. I love Valentine's Day.
look, and it's not to discredit the intention of the day. What I'm saying is that if you only compartmentalize and be present with that thing on this particular day, it's like your birthday. It's like, well, for most people, that's a day of self-care.
Yeah.
Why isn't that true
for any other day?
Every day. What's Christmas to most people?
Yeah.
Time to give cool shit to my family members. I know giving particularly material stuff all year is expensive. but showing people you care about them. This is supposed to be a positive series of comments as opposed to something that's like, why are you doing it for one day? You're such an idiot. Like, it's not what this is supposed to be about.
No, but it's...
But it's just that think bigger. Not because you want to stay focused on the overarching sort of, oh, well, I've got a whole lifetime to figure this stuff out. And that's usually where people just sit on their heels. But with that as the sort of big picture sort of thing, it's like, this is a year in a life. And depending on who you talk to, in a series of energetic manifestations that we call human life.
Yep.
That you may or may not have already had some of and are looking forward to more of, depending on
how many times
who you talk to.
Yeah.
But even then, it's like, well, like your last 3 months hasn't been that much fun. No. But how do we know that the next 3 months won't be absolutely epic, and the heightening effect of what hasn't been very much fun for you is going to make that even more valuable over the next few months? It's like, well, without the comparative point, like, no one's happy all the time.
No.
That's called mania. Wow.
Depends what level of mania you're at.
Yeah, you know what I mean, right? It's like, like you run out of dopamine.
Yeah. It's also one of those like neurotransmitters. You can also then have one of those neurotransmitter conversations where you can actually...
Well, have to come down at some point.
Well, that's it. You know, it's just like for you to actually what's the word I'm looking for? Reinstall, top up, whatever. Like to utilize your dopamine or to actually create more.
Yeah. That
comes in spaces of rest and
ebb and flow.
I think there's this unrealistic view that everyone has to be up on top of the fucking sky all the time.
Yeah.
And then when they're not, there's a problem. But at the same point, like some people go all the way down into the floor and then stay there.
And keep digging.
And it's like, okay, cool, yeah. It's like feel like that whole process of, you know, like actually feeling your shit It's just like if you actually go through the process of feeling your shit, then you come out of like getting, you know, you can get off the floor. But if you get onto the floor and you've never actually felt those emotions before, well, then you're going to get whopped with a lifetime of those emotions that you've suppressed.
By compartmentalising those as phases of your life that you've left behind and don't have to deal with again.
Yeah. I think we've like digressed greatly, but that's okay.
Well, this is more example of what it is that you're actually resolving to do when you make a resolution. What are you doing? Which brings us in a way neatly to, as you sort of mentioned earlier, one of the more common resolutions that most people make, which is, I want to weigh less.
Yes. And this is kind of like the topic we wanted to chat about as a follow-on from our previous discussion of escapism, why you're an addict, addictions, all of those sort of things. Because, I don't know, I used to be in the fitness industry. I'm still kind of am in the fitness industry a little bit. But I don't really work like you in the fitness industry.
There's physical fitness and then there's mental and emotional fitness.
Yeah.
And
watch me do mental gymnastics.
Yeah.
Something that I came across quite a lot, which is part of the reason why I actually stepped out of the fitness industry completely and went around the correct way, I guess, so to speak, rather than going through the avenue that is most popular. And that was, as you said, the amount of people I come across, you probably come across, everyone's kind of come across.
Probably.
That they just want to, as you said, weigh less. And all of the actual shit that comes up when they actually weigh less. Because weight loss doesn't actually fix your internal battles. It helps. There's a building of self-confidence and building of self-trust that you can actually do something.
And as I was alluding to before we press record, there are physiological changes that make you more endocrinally and neurologically capable of enjoying life more.
Yes.
It's not quite the same thing.
Yeah. So, and I think whether that's the conditioning, I don't know. I get it a lot from women, not a lot with men. Maybe you do because you're a guy. I don't know. They just want to lose weight so they can be more confident. They can do this. They can, whatever the case may be, the story is. And then the backstory or the whole reason and why when you dig into it is because their self-worth is based upon their able to fit into, I don't know,
size 8,
size 6 clothing, depending on where you are in the world.
Which means
you're teeny. And that comes from a nice conditioning pattern, whether that's from parental, society, combination of both, that this is how you're supposed to look to be deemed acceptable.
Externalized validation.
Yes.
There is a balance to be found in this conversation. Do we want to go there yet?
Well, there's a balance to be found in this conversation.
Only because there's a evolutionary biology argument to be made about it that is a precursor or a reinforcer, if not both, of that conditioning that you've just described.
Yes.
And how far and baselinedly or sophisticatedly we lean into that.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you do anything?
You're asking me as like a...
Generally. But if you happen to have some cool answers, please fill your boots.
Why do I do anything? Well, why do I do anything? Why does anyone do anything?
Why do you do anything? And why does anyone do anything as an extension of that?
As an extension of that is we run away from pain. We move towards pleasure is the that answer, because I speak proper English. Why do I do things? Well, again, that really depends. So if we are talking about the gym and weight loss and all that sort of stuff, I have an interesting, fun journey that I too went on, that I learnt a lot, where, I had children, didn't feel good enough and felt really, I wouldn't say fat, but I didn't feel comfortable within myself.
You weren't who you wanted to be.
I wasn't who I wanted to be. And that led me sort of going back to the gym the minute 6 weeks were up, all that sort of stuff. Probably wasn't, reflection. When I look back now, probably wasn't the smartest decision, but, I am here on this, life, and I'm here to learn things.
It was a thing that happened.
It was a thing that happened, and I went through a bunch of pretty much a lot of my adult life, yo-yoing, good times, because, when we give up one addiction, as we spoke about last episode, if we don't heal the wounds that led us to that space to begin with, we just kind of replace it with something else. And a lot of the times people that, remove things like drug use, alcoholism, smoking, those are, I guess, those three big things, without actually fixing the underlying wounds of why they started and what they were trying to cover up, they will 9 times out of 10 turn to food, because it's the socially acceptable. Alcoholism is as well, but it's one of those, I can make myself feel good and not feel shitty because I snorted cocaine.
So, if I said to summarize that.
Yeah, I totally took the long way around.
You're good. That's exactly what I was hoping you'd roughly say.
Okay.
Why do we do anything? We are looking for a feeling state.
Yes.
What that is, well, that's kind of an individual thing.
Well, I also think it depends. It took me a long time, and only really a few years ago, that pre-COVID, because that's the thing when we say pre or post. Before COVID, when I kind of really woke up and go, well, why am I training? Why am I going to the gym? Why am I doing this? And the internal switch from, that the should or the have to's, because I hate myself or I don't like the way I look, and moving into that space of, because I want to be stronger. I want to, and it almost stopped being about weight loss. And I find it very interesting. And I say this, and I said this to a lot of my, fitness clients, is it's very interesting the minute you stop focusing on losing weight and start focusing on inner health, whether that's, spiritual, gut stuff, all that sort of things, it just goes.
There will be an episode where we're going to talk about the quantum mechanics of that sort of stuff. But we've also briefly talked about how your subconscious doesn't recognize the positive or negative meanings of things. It just recognizes it's
things.
You've told it that your weight is important.
Yeah.
All it gets is that we better keep that as a thing so that it stays important.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you say it's not important, your homeostasis point kicks in and your body reasserts where it probably more accurately belongs.
Yeah.
That is a massive oversimplification of what is a phenomenally complicated conversation about human physiology.
I guess that oversimplification, which was fantastic. I loved that, by the way, is that case of everybody's homeostasis, which is, their the part of them where they have the most energy, the part of them where they feel the best, the part of them where they're sleeping well, all of those sort of things.
A very natural, smooth balance point.
Yeah, very natural, smooth balance point. Now, if you put that into a number on the scale, is completely different to everybody.
No. Thank you. Because the reason I asked the question before, why do most people do anything? Because they're looking for a feeling state. Now, whether that's the perpetuation of an old feeling state where maybe they feel shitty or not worth it or whatever. And like the scenario you just described, as soon as you stopped focusing on weight and you realigned how you went about pursuing that feeling state,
everything fell into place.
all sorts of wild things happened.
Yeah.
Now,
funny
but
that.
this is why I'm bringing it up, sort of thing. Like, why do most people go to the gym? Well, most people go there because they want to like themselves better.
Yeah.
Now, how healthily you act that out, how healthy your relationship is with what you say you want and yourself.
Whether that's you
and
liking
how you
yourself
like
better or
yourself.
somebody else liking you better,
That-
so you can say, I'm a good person because that person said so.
Or you get more likes on Instagram because your booty pics are bigger, I guess, or something to that effect.
Yeah.
But like your relationship with those things is ultimately what we're trying to talk about.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you might have lost a whole bunch of weight. How long is it going to stay off? Because in the back of your head, are you still doing things for other people? And at some point, there's going to be a rebound effect.
That rebound effect is burnout.
And that's, you know, when you were sort of saying you experienced a certain amount of yo-yo stuff. That's kind of why. Like until you go to that deeper level of like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
So you've realigned your training with something that is dramatically more self and life affirming.
Yeah.
You want to feel like you and you train accordingly.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I want to feel like I'm accepted for not being husky.
Yeah. So I'm not
And
going to eat anything and
And I'll
destroy.
get more likes, so I won't have a muffin top and my tights fit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
no.
whatever things that you focus on. But as you said, like I think ultimately every client I've ever had, ever,
Yeah.
has needed this conversation. I don't think I've ever met anyone in the gym that needed my help that didn't need multiple conversations about like, why are you doing this thing?
Yeah.
Because like, I know we banged on about it before, but the gym's a horrible place. You go to get sweaty, hurt yourself, and have some ass on a blue shirt yell at you for money.
Yeah. That is you. That's not me.
That
I go
is-
there to train and have conversations with people.
Have you forgotten who you're talking to?
Because, you know, that's what I do apparently.
Yeah.
Mind you, some people have conversations with, other people just look at me because I have the wickedest resting bitch face when I would train and they're like, oh, I'm not talking to her. You know,
It's
because
not that bad.
it's like my beautiful disconnect time, you know?
You have your days, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But even then, like the necessity of, so this is why I do like an initial consult with everyone. It's like, who are you? What do you want? Without being quite so black and white about it as that. It's like you get to know someone so that you get an appreciation of what they're looking for. So you can at least initially start to pull apart, why do you need my help? Because if you just need someone to write your program, I'm much more expensive than the next guy.
Yeah.
You don't need me for that.
No.
Keep your money in your pocket where it belongs.
Yeah. There's an app for that.
Yeah. There's a few.
Yeah.
Some of them are free.
Fill your boots.
That. But until you're present with that, and maybe you need someone who's at least there to listen, to ask the right questions at the right times. Like, why are you here?
Yeah.
Because, as I say, on a very real level, the gym's not a very nice place. But what are you looking for that will transcend that?
Into somewhere where you want to be.
Yeah. So, like, I used to train a young lady. When I first met her, she was 40 kilos.
Fuck, that's teeny.
She's not very big at the best of times, but that was very.
Like my 9-year-old son's 30 kilos.
She's little.
Yeah.
But I met her at 40 kilos after she just lost 25.
Oh, wow.
And it took about 3 months to have a real conversation about what it was that she was doing and why.
Yeah.
And then it took about another month or two after that to actually watch the penny drop.
Yep.
So I didn't know. And it's okay. Because she came to see me because she wanted to put on another 20 kilos. No. She wanted to put on another 30 kilos because she wanted to be massive. Yeah.
So she lost 25 kilos.
Because she was husky.
Apparently husky.
And then she was an absolute...
Beanpole.
Oh,
Pelican.
she looked like an orange on a toothpick.
Okay.
This is a very lovely, very friendly, very pleasant, very pretty young lady.
Yeah.
Who...
And then she
At that point in her life, her head didn't fit her body because
Yeah,
she was that
just
small.
Just lost too much weight.
And then she's like, I want to overcorrect. And so
But why did she want to overcorrect?
now that's why I'm bringing this up.
Yeah.
It's because...
Because, like, I'm invested now. Why? Because my initial thought process was like, you know, as you said, like it took her a couple of months of conversations and then another month for the penny to drop. And I'm like, was there a fear of that if she actually fucking stopped, that she'd put all the weight back on? But no,
Now-
it wasn't. Sorry.
Yes,
Okay.
but the reason she wanted to put that weight back on was because she was trying to redefine her version of healthy.
Okay. Fair enough.
But the thing is that what she still hadn't addressed was her relationship with herself in regards to what healthy actually is.
Yeah.
So she didn't want to be fat anymore. So she become
Teeny.
like alarmingly thin.
Yeah.
Like she was, I'm not talking like anorexic, like she was still a fit, shaped young lady.
Yeah.
It was just nothing to her.
There was no body fat at all.
It's what it was.
Yeah.
And then she wanted to put it all back on because that was the new version of how she would interpret herself being healthy. It was like, mate, the shit that you're going to have to do to be that weight at your natural size, like there might be some pharmaceutical help involved in that, because it's not that you're not going to be able to do it, but if you've got the spare 5 to 10 years.
I'm assuming that she obviously wanted to put all that weight back on in muscle.
Yeah. Sorry, I probably should have clarified that
Yeah.
better. I thought it would have been vaguely. Yeah.
It's all right. It just took me a minute.
So she was showing me a picture. Oh, I'd love to look like her. It's like, I mean, you can do that, but you're also half a foot shorter than her. So, you know, like we've got to have some frame to put that amount of weight on.
And that's the thing as well, that I'm not too sure a lot of people also, kind of get, because I know I get a lot of people that bring me pictures. Again, hairdressing background, right? I want to look like that. That's nice. Like, I can guarantee you don't have their genetics. Yeah. Are you taller? Are you shorter? Like, yeah.
I'll tell you another story about that in a second.
I don't think, like, and it's like that whole setting yourself up for failure thing, because it's, I don't think it's going to work like that.
Put it this way. The young lady I'm thinking of, she had the genetics.
Mm-hmm.
What inevitably came up, and this is what I kept poking at her about, it didn't sound right, was, but why, mate?
Yeah.
Why is this what you say you want? It's like, I don't ever want to go back to fat me. It's like, does that mean you have to overcompensate by being ridiculously buff me?
And how hard is that? Just as much as, like,
and that's
being,
what I challenged her on.
just as much as being like that teeny tiny, like, how hard is that to maintain at a healthy rate?
And how much of that is actually what you want and not what you think will make you like yourself better.
Yeah.
And that's eventually what we ended up. We spent the next 6 months we trained hard, but every time I saw her, the conversations were ultimately about like, where do you think the idea that you have to be this size or this shape or this version of yourself or this compliant or this or that, without wanting to tell her story, because there's some
that's fine.
wild shit in the background there.
Yeah, I can imagine.
In terms of how things happen to distort what she thought about herself. Anyway.
Yeah.
But that's an example of like, you can do all sorts of wild stuff and you can force yourself to do things. But it wasn't until every client that I ever take on is taken on with the pre-qualification of me saying at some point, you are going to get to the point where you don't need me anymore.
Yeah.
If I've done my job properly, we will get to that point. And she did.
Yeah.
Because in the previous 3 months prior to getting to that point, she said, I can't remember what it was like to not feel like this anymore.
Yeah.
Because she was that happy. She's like, she just remembered what it was to love her life and be awesome and enjoy it and all this sort of stuff. It's like,
fucking winning.
Right?
Yeah.
And then she got to the point where she's like, I've got other priorities now.
Yeah.
I've got uni to do. I want to start a family. I want to meet someone who's like going to treat me how I'm deserving and all this sort of stuff. And that's all things that we were working on. It's like, it had nothing to do with your rig, did it, mate?
Yeah.
It's like, she's an extremely well-shaped, attractive young lady, because that's just who she is.
Yeah.
She's told you, genetic. She's on point.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until she could lean into that and start to chip away at the shit that meant that she didn't think that.
Yeah, or believe that about herself.
Be capable of working on that. That's why New Year's resolutions kind of want to start there. It's like, what does that thing that I say that I want represent about the feeling state that I'll have when I get there? But what does that also say about my current feeling state that I don't feel satisfied with or downright hate?
Yeah, that I feel like I have to punish myself to try and make it better.
And this is the second story I was about to tell. Would have been about 10 years ago. In the gym, talking to a couple of young ladies who were new to the gym, best mates. And they wanted to have a sit-down consult. It was like, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. Sat them both down because, again, they were best mates.
Mm-hmm.
It was Renee and Gaia. So I asked Gaia first, like, what do you want to look like? And she's looked at her friend and said, I want to look like her.
Did her friend say the same thing back?
Literally. Gaia was this tall, pretty willowy blonde girl, would have been perfectly at home on a runway.
Mm-hmm.
Renee was this Mediterranean sort of curvy, in as good a positive way as you can sort of say that, voluptuous Mediterranean girl.
Mm-hmm.
Like both very attractive young ladies.
Mm-hmm.
And they both said, I want to look like her. And I had to tell them, think about what your best friend has just said about how you already look.
Yeah.
She's prepared to do all sorts of awful shit and pay money for it.
Yeah.
Because they'd rather look like you than them.
Yeah.
What does that say about how well you already look?
Yeah. Or how are you?
And you could just, like, they were like, 18, 19 at the time. You just see the penny drop. And you're like, oh.
And there's that aspect of how we see someone else is how we view ourselves.
That.
You know.
Like, I'm not who I could be. I want to be tall and willowy and blonde as opposed to sort of relatively curvy and voluptuous and sort of tanned.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
I ran into Renee maybe 8 years after that.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't recognize me at first. I sort of, I know that face. And sort of, hey man, how you going? Oh, it's you. I've never forgotten that day.
Mm-hmm.
You changed my life. It's like, no, I didn't. You did.
Yeah.
You just needed someone to point out you were being dumb. But those as examples of like, until you're ready to look at what it is you're actually dealing with, what feeling state you're currently being present with, and how more often than not, it's not true.
Yeah.
No, I can't say that. That's not right.
Well,
It's not what you think it is
yeah.
in the face of thinking that this stuff's going to fix that.
Yeah, you're not this horrible person that's worth nothing just because someone said so because you don't look like XYZ. And when you can tap into that, as you said, like when the penny drops, when you can really tap into who you are as a human being, as uniquely you as you are, then, and know that, you know, your worth is not based upon what size you are, what you look like, or, you know, what someone else says you're supposed to be, because that's a projection of their own insecurities that they've put onto you, and then you've just carried it on.
Yeah.
You know, it's an incredibly powerful place to be, because that's it. You start doing shit, you start moving into spaces and places that align with who you want to be. You start, like, as you said, instead of going to a horrible place to get hot and sweaty and have someone yell at you for money, because you feel...
Assuming you hire a trainer.
And assuming you hire a trainer. Because you feel shitty about yourself and you think that you need to do this because you're worthless and this is the only way to prove that you are worth something. And then you go there to go, well, I'm going here because, you know, one, exercise has limits amounts of studies on, you know, all aspects of health, you know,
Couple.
you know, mental, physical, bone, like blood, all the things, gut, all the things, right? And you're like, I'm going here because I want to look after myself, because I love myself, or because I'm worth it.
I want to show myself that I'm worth a damn, or I want to like myself better.
Yeah.
Sometimes that comes out as a healthy, hence the Instagram because of booty pics and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. It's to get, I'm doing this because I like myself, not because I hate myself. As black and white, as simple as
Caring about self.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, there are things you can do to make yourself feel differently, and maybe that's more valuable to you. And you trust in the process to go through shit to get to the other side of appreciating that you're a more valuable version of yourself. You're a higher version of yourself.
Yeah.
I was mentioning before about the idea of evolutionary biology.
Yes.
I'm about to derail this conversation a bit.
Go for gold.
The evidence would suggest that as much as everything we've said for the last 47-ish minutes is about the individuation process of who are you and what do you want.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that genetics still plays a role in this conversation is that we are social animals, and generally we prioritize things that has a corresponding physicality, behavioral set, mindset, emotional alignment that comes along with that.
Mm-hmm.
For example, Sky,
Mm-hmm.
what makes a man physically attractive?
Oh, okay. Good question. Well, I guess that depends on who you are.
Don't be evasive.
Why not? There is like, I don't know, I have...
Let's go with general first before we throw you under the bus.
I was going to say, I have so many different people that I think that are attractive, and they're like, they all look completely fucking different. Like there's not...
Could you distill it into a certain amount of quality, or is there a general trend?
Well, there's definitely...
And when I say look, I mean look, not connectively, emotionally, intellectually attractive.
Well... For me, definitely, and I guess that just, I don't know, aligns with my values. They need to look like they look after themselves.
Why is that? What does that represent? And this is the evolutionary biology shit, because we're still animals.
Yes, we're still animals. Well, then there's health, obviously.
Which is usually one of the hugest factors which creates attraction and species propagation.
Yeah. So then there's, if you want to, I guess, dig into it, there's the stability factor there. This is a good question. Yeah, there's sort of like, well, I think if for me, like, yes, I'm a bit of an introvert, but I'm also a very active person. So, like as you said, we're all social creatures. I like people, and then I don't like people. It's just how I roll.
I've met you before.
Yeah. I love people. I have to go and recover from people, but that's just my energetic system, and that's completely fine.
Can relate.
Yes. But I'm also a very active person. I don't fare well sitting on the couch watching TV drinking all day. Like, that's not my idea of a good time.
So there's an alignment.
Yeah, so there's an alignment factor to that. I don't want a partner that is, sitting in front of the couch screaming at football. Looks like he's never played a game of football in his life. Very, very. I know that's very judgy.
No, but that is exactly why I'm bringing this subject up.
But
because whether you like it or not, it is relevant.
Yeah.
So appreciating, why would people go to the gym? It's firstly to like yourself better.
Yeah.
Whichever methodology you take yourself through. It's like, I'm doing things that make me feel more like me. Now, if that's lifting heavy shit, well, fill your boots, mate.
Yep, that's
good.
Me.
As an example. If it makes you feel like you function better, if there's genuine health benefits that you feel, sort of thing, there is a physical representation of that we as humans have a level of programmedness, because I speak English.
Yep.
To gravitate towards.
Yes.
So your framing of it, like, what makes someone on a purely physical level, on that very obvious level, attractive? It's like, well, someone who take care of themselves. Now, obviously, there's many delineations of what that actually means.
Yeah.
But it will boil down to, they have the capacity to be healthy, functional, capable, and pass down potent genetics accordingly. And that's male and female. I don't give a shit which version. It's like, but the reason I asked about what in general would you say makes a man physically attractive? And this is where we get into the 666 bullshit and all that sort of stuff.
I didn't even know what that was until a couple of months ago when you explained it to me.
All right, hands up who's listening, who doesn't know what the 666 is. Anyway, it's like the old blonde hair, big tits, shallow male thing.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like the female version of that.
The societal norm of what attractive is. Skinny, blonde hair, blue eyes, big boobs. That's what I mean. Like rare 2% of the population.
Go and hang out in Scandinavia. You'll probably meet a couple.
Yeah, but the
666 is the male version. It's 6 figures, 6 foot.
6 inches. There you go. I said it.
Or 6 pack, depending on who you talk to and how crash you want to make it.
Okay.
But the point being that of all those
things,
4-ish things,
the
money's what it is.
Yeah.
It's a demonstration of resources. It's a demonstration of competency, in theory.
In theory.
The height represents a certain level of size that probably means that you're more capable generally of protecting and providing.
Yep. Generally.
Theoretically, same with the 6-pack. Because it's not easy to get. It requires a level of investment and discipline and physical prowess. 6 inches, well, there's a certain amount of genetic blessingness to that. But at the same time, it represents, at least to the people who focus on the 6, 6, and 6, a capacity for enjoyment of connective time. Which, again, is part of the reason why you'd want to be with anyone.
Yep.
It's like, if you're not enjoying yourself with them, like, why are you there?
But which I find super fascinating because there is so many like talks, things around education wise that, you know, here's me saying the whole size doesn't matter thing, but I wonder if this is like a conditioned thing on like a female perspective. I didn't even know what the 666 is until you explained it to me. So I was just like, what the fuck is that shit? What are you talking about? Like, here's me like, I was brought up with the 666 as a sign of the devil, but never mind. Of that, if they had that if they had that size, then, you know, that would be that level of enjoyment. But I'm pretty sure 99% of the women that I know, speak to, read about, all that sort of stuff, have never had an orgasm in their life. So why would like a huge dick be any prowess to that? Besides the fact it was like, oh yeah, I've got a big dick, I can fuck good. You were like politically correct, and I'm just like throwing it down.
But that's another like extension of what I'm talking about. So what happens if the size of your dick is the micromanagement version of the physical size of that person?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I digress.
all of this to say that there are things that make you more valuable to other people beyond your own value.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I was saying before. There's a balance to this sort of thing.
Yeah.
So like one of the reasons people go to the gym is I want to like myself better. Good. Maybe other people will like you better too because you fill out your booty shorts better, or you,
I don't know,
pecs stick out the side of your shirt, or whatever it happens to be, right?
Yeah.
So like being present with that, but not overly invested in that
side
thing.
of it. Yeah.
Because and this is why I say it's like, there's a balance. Like, you're a social creature. Do you want a partner or not? Would you like to be attractive enough to attract the partner that you want as well? Not because you want to stay on that basal, cheap, nasty, blonde hair, big tits, or 666 stuff. Because that's if we look at that as like a
success story,
a relatively shallow representation of what's superficially attractive.
Yeah.
And then you go into the depth of, right, well, what else is there? Because if that's all they are.
Yeah. Ugh. Well, that's it. And I guess like, I reckon this will be like a totally another episode. So I'm going to bring it up and then you can go, okay, we'll cut it and then do that.
Can I?
Can I? Do I have to? Because like, as you just said, and I've had this conversation with you a couple of times because like, I'm not a guy. I don't know. I'm a girl. But I'm also a woman that in society standards is not attractive. I'm cool with that. Like, I think I look okay.
Now, I'm glad you brought that up. Not because we're going to go after Sky and try and pump her tires up or cut her down.
Yeah.
But because it was last episode. And I basically said, I'm about to ruin the last 25 years of my working career and study by saying what I'm about to say. And it was about science is built on the law of averages. If you don't match what is that superficial
average thing
version of attractive, does that necessarily make you unattractive?
No.
And I'm pretty sure that's why you were bringing it up.
Yeah.
Because I disagree. I think you are attractive.
Thank you.
But because you're not that version of it, it's like that. When we talked about when kids don't eat the food you've made. You haven't even fucking tried it, kid.
Yeah, that.
And they're like, but I don't like it. It's because they don't have the certainty that they do like it, that you are now part of the dislike crew just by being neutral
just
and
by being
unknown.
That. Yeah.
You are assigning yourself to the unknown quantity.
Yeah.
And by extension, while you haven't said anything particularly mean to yourself, you're also putting yourself in a category of, I'm not that, so I must be this.
Yeah.
The conventional, superficial, shallow shit.
Yeah.
No, that's not you.
No.
At least on the blonde level, anyway. You're quite the other end of the spectrum. But that's the thing. It's like, why do most people go to the gym? because they're trying to enhance what they already have. Now, whether that's the internal validation or the external validation or a very happy, rich blend of both. Or fill your boots.
Yeah.
But the necessity of being present with that so that when you ask the question, what do you want? Like, who are you and what do you want?
Yeah.
You're balancing the value that is within yourself with the vessel by which you embody that in as well.
Yeah.
Meat popsicle.
Piloted by a spirit ghost.
Spirit ghost is a pretty big deal.
Yes.
But the meat popsicle you're piloting around is kind of a big deal too. It's not as big a deal, but this is what you've got to work with for the next 80-ish years.
Yeah.
What do you want to do with it?
That's it.
Run it into the ground? Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. But unfortunately, in terms of how you would interact with the other social creatures around you,
yeah,
these are factors involved in that. Now, have we talked about the halo effect?
Not yet, no.
The halo effect is a psychological principle that describes the inclination of humans to assign additional positive traits to people that they deem as attractive already.
Yeah. It's like the whole where focus goes, energy flows type thing.
Yeah. So if you think someone's kind of hot, the natural inclination to assume that they're probably cool and interesting and all this sort of stuff is quite present. And the other opposite is true as well. It's like what you were kind of very carefully walking a tiptoe line about when I asked, what would you consider attractive? And you're like, I can think of multiple people who are vastly different.
Yeah.
You're doing the reverse. You see valuable, attractive traits that aren't necessarily a physically attractive element.
Yep.
That does impact how you see them physically to make them attractive as a package.
Yep.
Did that make sense?
Yes, that made sense.
This has gone on a pretty wild tangent now that I think about it, but it's still relevant to like owning this stuff.
Yeah.
So that you can factor it into who you're becoming and why you make New Year's resolutions, period, or why you need to address why you want to lose the weight. Like, why do you want to lose the weight? Because I want to be hotter.
Yeah.
Who's that really for?
Yeah. Is that for you or is that for someone else?
And if the answer is both, well, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if it's just exclusively for someone else because you want to match up to these versions of hotness that may not have anything to do with you, hence why you said things about yourself just before that.
Yeah, that's all right. You took it on a way tangent. I haven't even got to finish my question yet, but keen to continue.
What's your question?
Well, no, because like as I was saying, because I'm not a dude and I don't fall into that category as a female. I remember having a chat with you about someone I was having a conversation with, and he was going on about how like someone had asked him out on a date, and it was completely not his type, which is fine, you know, and all of this sort of stuff, and then started going on about how this other person is his type.
I think I remember.
Do you remember this conversation? Right, yeah.
I met this person.
You did on the week on Boxing Day.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And
I didn't technically meet him, but
yeah,
he was in the room. I figured out who he was.
we figured it out. Yeah, and everything that he was explaining about this person that he was attracted to was literally explaining his ex-partner. But on the flip side of it, he will turn around and say that his ex-partner is really fake, you know, only cares about image and materialistic things. I don't like the fact that she does nothing but, yeah, I know it's super fascinating, right? I don't like the fact that, you know, she's obviously teaching because they have girls. I don't like the fact that she's teaching our girls that this is what you need to do in order to be beautiful. They need to be, and I'm like, this is fascinating because like the two things are very, almost quite contradictory. And I was wondering, because this is what my brain does when it comes to behavior, because this is my fun time, is this you or somebody, anybody saying that this thing, blonde hair, blue eyed, big boobs, whatever, is attractive? Is that a conditioned thing where you've been told that this is what you're supposed to be attracted to, and then you're fighting the shadow monsters around it because everything that is to attain that, if you don't have that naturally, means enhancements, lots of maintenance, all that sort of stuff, like fake hair, fake eyelashes, implants, like all this sort of stuff. But that you're going to go around to the pretty much a carbon copy of that and go, yep, I'll do her. I'm like, where this other person who had actually, like, asked him out, is the complete opposite of that, but a very enlightened, always ready to learn, I think she's gorgeous, type of person. And I'm like, I get there's a type. I get there's that physical attraction type thing.
Yep.
So my thing was, that was my point. I don't know if this is like a whole nother episode, because I understand.
It might be.
Yeah.
Because there's 3 things that I want to say in response to that.
Yeah.
First one is it a type or is it a pattern?
That's what I mean. Like, is it like a conditioning or is it a...
And there might be. Don't know the dude. I have many questions.
Yeah, me too.
Second.
That's what I was asking you.
Where do stereotypes come from? Because without looking for a specific answer, they come from somewhere. Why? What does that actually mean?
Yep.
Is there an exoticness to blonde hair that just isn't that common across the face of the planet, and therefore has the mistaken... All right, so there's this idea that scarcity doesn't necessarily represent value in the same way that value isn't necessarily scarce. So what happens if that's the mistake that the typical blonde-haired, big tits, blue eyes example makes?
Or is it the, like, doughy, won't ask questions, just...
We'll get to that.
Which is the stereotype,
But-
I know, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But it's not always true.
No.
But that sort of ties into what I'm about to say next, which is me, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I'm greedy. If I'm not finding this person physically attractive,
Yeah.
well, we're going to be mates.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Fair enough.
If I can't meet them on an intellectual level,
Uh-huh.
how do you talk to that person?
Yes.
If you can't connect with them on an emotional level so that you can share something deep and meaningful, why are you bothering?
Yeah.
Again, greedy.
Yeah.
But how do you even start that process if you don't, for example, and whether this is a typical man thing or a human thing in general, it's like, how do you get some idea of how appealing this person is? Where do you start?
Oh, dear.
It's not a question many people enjoy answering, but what's the first thing that you see or experience of them? It's how they look.
Mm-hmm.
The relatively black and white version that men have compared to the somewhat dramatically more nuanced version that women have, and this, like, the deeper assessment of, like, the quality of his shoes, for example. What does that represent? Like, how does he hold himself, posture, and all this sort of, you know what I mean? Like, there's differences to it, but like, how do you want to get to know someone better, at least initially, if you're looking for them and considering them as like a partner?
Yep.
How do they appeal to you to start with? Now, wherever those things come from, whatever you find attractive, it's kind of what it is. It just seems to be. And that relates to that second question. It's like, why is the stereotype the stereotype?
Yep.
Is this a thing that's from 1,500 years ago? Or is it from, like, the 60s when Marilyn Monroe was a thing and that's just the standard now? You know what I mean, right?
Yeah, but
So
even
whichever
still,
version-
Marilyn Monroe was like a size 10 and did not have a flat stomach or anything like that.
But that as an example. But it was the blonde hair, big tits, blue eyes.
Yeah.
And the wispy high voice that sang happy birthday, Mr. President, all this sort of stuff. The irony is that woman had an IQ of what, 150 something?
She was incredibly intelligent.
So, like, it's the physical archetype that we're ultimately talking about right now. It's like, why do we go to the gym? Well, it's because maybe we want to be a little bit more physically aligned with the most attractive version of ourselves.
Yep.
And that's why I'm asking all these annoying questions.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, until you actually have the opportunity to meet someone, who do you know you want to meet?
Yeah.
Who do you know might align with your values before you've met them? People who look vaguely similar to you. Now, it could be that I'm about to start a really awkward conversation about tribalism and, by extension, racism, but let's not today.
I was going to say, I've already taken this a left of centre, but
those sorts of things, like, and I'd like to imagine that that's how the vast majority of men operate.
mm-hmm.
I'd say women as well, but maybe they're a little bit more subtle about it.
Subtle, creepy. I don't know. I've heard a few people that have tried to rub up against you, man. Like, not subtle at all.
No. That's still an episode coming.
Oh, dear.
No, because you remember that conversation.
Oh, I remember it. I was gobsmacked.
I was thinking more along the lines that you wanted to ask about men's experience of sexual assault and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I remember that conversation too.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah. No, I was
way down.
I was remembering a conversation we had, like, with you, how you end up in fun situations.
Yeah. How dare you be friends with someone? Anyway.
Yeah, right?
but those as examples of, like, what do you find appealing? What do you start with? What seems like a person would align with a thing that you think as well?
Yep.
Do they look fit? Do they look healthy? Do they look like they take care of themselves?
Yep.
It's something to start with.
Mm.
Because as you say, like, would you be interested in a dude who sits on the couch drinking beers, watching the Dockers and yelling at the umpires?
No.
So you've precluded...
Which is super funny because my husband sits there and screams at the TV.
And it's fine. But you know him better than that.
Yeah.
So it's not as
but
limiting effect for his appeal.
Yeah.
That
Right.
sounded massively harsh, AJ. I didn't mean it that way, bud.
We all
you know
have
what I mean,
we all
right?
have our thing, okay? I get that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But that is as an aside. It's like, well, balancing out being appealing versions of yourselves and what you are and aren't prepared to do that, knowing that some of those things may cross a line where you no longer feel like you because you're investing more in what other people think as opposed to what you think. It doesn't take much to go a bit wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Because what you just described before, like, what typically do you find appealing?
Yeah.
On that initial assessment? Everybody does it.
Yeah.
And if you think you don't,
You do.
you fucking do. Check out that shadow.
Yeah, right?
Like, I do it.
Yeah.
It's like, do they have a certain shape that would probably represent that they do take care of themselves on this level, or this level, and this level? Because if they don't, there's going to be a lot of shit that I do that won't make sense to them. And it's probably not going to create an aligned relationship that's going to make it valuable for either of us.
Yeah.
Call that judgy if you must, but look, it's not there by accident.
Yep.
How fucking annoying would dating be if everyone you met, you just went through that same whole big process of like, oh, let's get to know them. Let's, all this sort of stuff. You spend 6 months with someone and you go, oh, I didn't like that person at all.
Yeah. That's it.
But I guess, being present with those things, it's like, well, why don't I align with that person?
Mm.
And is that necessarily anything wrong with you or wrong with them? And remembering that not really on both counts.
Yeah.
New Year's resolutions, huh?
Yeah. That went sideways.
Yeah. But it's still a representation of like, are you going to be happy when you lose the weight? Are you going to be happy when you get your tits done? Are you going to be happy when you get your leg lengthening surgery that makes you 3 inches higher because you don't want to be a short king anymore.
Yeah.
Because that's a thing.
Oh, right.
Have you invested in your penis pump because you're not 6 inches, and that's going to be the deciding factor about that certified baddie that you want at the gym, or whatever bullshit you come up with.
It's also apparently pretty known that. Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. Oh dear.
Was that a TMI conversation? Was it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Possibly. I don't know. Depends on what level of TMI is TMI.
Yeah. Okay.
But there's a thing. Okay, I think my brain can get out of the gutter for a little while.
I have noticed that on this very visual format that everyone else can see, every time Sky consciously thinks, she goes into tapping on your head.
Yep.
And I can't decide if that's because it's enhancing the electrical conductivity of your prefrontal cortex.
Well,
or
if you want to like talk about it on an energetic level, one, tapping is pretty cool anyway. But if you want to talk about it on an energetic level, or like a astrology level, or like a human design level, for example, which is where I'm going to take it, is I have an open head center. So I have lots of thoughts, and they kind of go in, and then, which is total ADHD, right? And then there's chaos in there.
And then sometimes you tap your head to center
myself and to focus on where I need to be. So it's like a lot of people with open heads centers will become overwhelmed because there's just so much up there and just nowhere to put it.
Yeah.
So the tapping aspect, one, helps to alleviate the physical sensation of that, like, oh my God, my head is fried. It's not. But two, helps to sort of, as I said, recenter and go, hang on a minute, what am I talking about here?
I had my suspicions about that was where that was going to go.
Did it go where you wanted it
No,
to go?
it went exactly where I was thinking it would go.
You know, on this episode that was going to be 40 minutes and we're at 1 hour and 17 right now.
It's just double. Calm down. We've done worse. But that, as an example of everything you've just explained about why you do the thing, is another example of like, why do you want to lose the weight? Why do you want to get buffer? Why do you want to have a 6-inch dick? Why do you want to have 6 figures? Why do you want to have big tits? And being present with that stuff so that you don't end up losing yourself in a process that just deepens the problem.
Because when you do that, you'll get triggered as fuck, because you'll put all the shit that you are into the shadow. And then to try and become all of the things that are still you, but not all of you, become something to be accepted by somebody else. Which means that anyone that comes across as authentic or loves himself or has the confidence or whatever the thing that you are wanting is, as an internal rather than external, will become a trigger. And not like a bad trigger, but like a why can't I be like that person trigger.
And like the first story I told, so why did she want to get buff? Because it meant that she was so far removed from being the thing she definitely didn't want to be, which was fat.
Which is, the massive overcorrection.
And
the pendulum swings a whole ass other direction.
It's still based on a thing of like trying to escape, but creating more distance between the thing that you don't like about yourself.
Rather than looking into the thing that you don't like about yourself and finding out why you don't like it about this thing about yourself and where it actually comes from. Because I can fucking guarantee it didn't come from you. That came from somebody else.
With that young lady, that's what we sort of went into. It's like, where did this come from, mate? It's like, all of that process. Eventually she put about 15 to 20 kilos back on. Fittest, healthiest, best relationship with the food she's ever had, to the point where she realized that it actually wasn't that important anymore and stepped away from it after a while.
Yep.
She's still trained. She's still healthy, still fit and dynamic. Just didn't have so much weight didn't have so much time and effort invested in how she physically looked, because she realized that
that was going to be what it was,
She stopped moving away from what she didn't want and started moving towards what she did want.
which was to be her.
Mm. So we've gone about that the fucking longest way
Hopefully there was some vaguely entertaining stories,
in there.
sort of awkward moments being thrown under the bus as well.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Fun times. That's all good. But yes, have we droned on about that enough? Because, 40 minutes turned into an hour and 20. It's just going to be a short episode. It's fine.
I did threaten you with the evolution of biology conversation, but
No. Later episode. Later. I don't think people have 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours.
Fine. Just call them uncommitted. You guys need to really have a good think about your New Year's resolutions and about how much time you're devoting to a podcast.
Right.
Is that passive aggressive enough?
Just a tiny bit.
Okay. Well, in that case, we're clearly getting the hurry up.
Yes. I'm hungry.
That's nice.
Can you feed me?
Maybe. All right.
All right. Be good.
Be kind.
Be smart.
Be your best you.
No bar fights.
See you guys.
See ya.